Every pregnancy needs utmost care and attention. But certain pregnancies need a little extra attention. An Rh negative mother carrying an Rh positive baby is at increased risk of complications. BSV is at the forefront to ensure safe delivery in every Rh negative pregnancy.
And welcome. You're watching View with Women. I am Rupa Ramani. Thank you for joining us here this morning. And if you want to get the sponsors out of the way, let's do that. And this is presented by BSV, Puma Food and Wellness, AMRI Hospitals, and of course, MPL Sports Foundation. And if you're joining us here bright and early, you know it's a big encounter today. It's the big one, India versus Australia. And they are playing for the first time. And the entire tournament for the first time has shifted to Auckland. And if you've just joined in, you know that the update from the center is Australia has won the toss and they've elected to bowl first against India. So that's one thing that's gone in their favor, the toss has. And to take us through and build up to that exciting encounter today are two very special ladies. We're joined by former World Cup winner Julia Price and, of course, former India cricketer Sonia Dabur. Thank you so much, ladies. It's quite an exciting start to the day for sure. I think it's a match that everyone is very keenly looking forward to because it has some exciting players on both sides. Opening thoughts, Julia, how big is this match, first of all? It's a huge one and probably one of those important ones when it comes to the whole table dynamics for India, for sure.
Yeah. It's a massive game, probably more so for India than Australia. Obviously, Australia know how competitive India are, but Australia sort of in a good position at the moment, having won their first four games, where India is sort of fighting for a spot at the moment between about 3 or 4 other teams. So for them, it's very important, one, for their confidence, but secondly, for that table points and trying to get them, ensuring that they get in those semi-finals.
Right. Sonia, it's a huge challenge, and no one can form India has had so far. Want to put their right foot forward for this one.
Yeah, definitely. This is, I think, the game when your Indian team is going to get that confidence if they are going to beat the Australians, and it will be a big thing for them coming in playing the other matches in this World Cup. As rightly said that they will have to work. They are fighting for the third and fourth position in the table, so they would like to add those 2 more points in their cricket team.
Julie, just your thoughts on how Australia has sort of been sort of through this tournament so far. Before we sort of go into the nitty-gritties, we do know that we will show you the playing 11 for both the sides also in a bit. But how confident and sort of commanding display have you seen from the Australian women so far in this tournament?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that they're playing their best cricket. They've still got a bit to go, which is good. They've been challenged by a few teams. Obviously, that really close one in the first game against England, and then even trying to chase the West Indies really low total. They bowled really well, but then got a little bit of the wobble boots on. But I have to admit, I was quite impressed. In the past, they've sort of really panicked a little bit, and I thought they showed really good composure. So it's been good that they've been tested in quite a few different ways so far. Also, bowlers carried out this morning. There's, I think, 9 or 10 bowls already because they're changing their team pretty regularly, which is also a good thing as well. Good sign that they've got a lot of depth. They manage their players. They're just sort of trained for certain situations, and they're really using those matchups well. So a bit of experimentation going on, and but have looked reasonably comfortable most of the games that they've played in. So they'll be definitely hoping to win today.
Changes in the playing 11 for both the sides. Let's have a look at the two teams that are going to sort of take the field here for India and Australia. That one big dramatic change for India, they've gone with Shafali Verma. We spoke ahead of the last encounter about what kind of changes they'd be looking to make in their 11 after that sort of disappointing outing in their previous against England. Australia has one change as well. Darcy Brownton in place of in place of Annabel Sutherland too. So that's what we have looking at both these sides. Let's take initial thoughts then. Sonia Dabir, your thoughts, is that a sort of a very confident move? It is a little disappointing and to keep someone like Deepti away, but do you see this as a good move for India?
See, more than good move, they have strengthened their top order. And today, Deepti not being there, you might see Harman coming and bowling the soft spinners for Mithali. So that's the thing they will be having in their mind, because Deepti is an off spinner, and we've seen Harman bowl previously as well. So that was the cushion available for Mithali when coming to spinners. So they have. I was definitely surprised to see Dipti not playing today, but yeah, this is kind of good move because if a strength is, you can see almost till 8th over, they have that strong batting lineup.
Julia, thoughts on someone like Shafali coming in? We've seen her being away for a while, and we know what damage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love Shafali Verma. I think she's fantastic, and but at the same time, I think it was maybe a good little wake up call for her, to be replaced by Yastika Bhatia initially, because I think it's sometimes just makes you go away and rethink about your own game and what exactly you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So this is a really great opportunity for her to come back into the group. It wasn't necessarily that they were saying she was playing badly. She hadn't scored as many runs as she could have, but I just think it's a really good opportunity for her to re-establish herself in their 50-over game and really display the skills that she's got. And they are right. It does definitely strengthen their order. Deepti Sharma obviously got a good 40 in the first game, but sort of fell away a little bit from there. But she had pushed herself up into that number 3. They'd sort of been messing around a little bit with their order and hadn't got it quite right. So, again, I think this is another good little bit of experimentation that India need to do to try and make sure that they're pushing hard and challenging some of these bigger teams, because they've got some tough games coming up after this one as well to make sure that they get in that top 4.
Yes, just to quickly sort of take you through what the table looks like, just to sort of connect with what Julia is saying and why it is important, because, yes, India is part of that top 4 when you look at the points table. They're number 4 right now with 4 points. That's 2 losses out of 4 games. And of course, Australia is at the top of the points table. South Africa comes in second, West Indies. So it isn't they're somewhere there, but they need this win for sure. Just to take you through, of course, as well, Sonia, on Auckland being the venue today. It's the first time that the World Cup is going to witness the match being played here in Auckland. How do you view that shift in sort of playing conditions? How is that going to affect how things are going to take shape on the field today?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a fresh pitch for everyone, not only the Indian, but the Australian side as well. If both the teams are playing over here for the first time in this World Cup. So definitely it's kind of a challenge for both the teams as well, because even though they'll be practicing there before this match, but actually playing a game today, they will need to be a bit cautious initially to start with, I will say.
Okay, just let's also look at the teams matching up, because we know India is going to bat first, Australia is going to bowl, of course. Just your thoughts on the particular change as well in that lineup for you guys, for Australia, Julia. How does that go down according to you, Darcy coming in?
Yeah, I think Darcy will be good. Obviously, they haven't seen a lot of Darcy in the past. She's bowling pretty well at the moment. I think the fact that it's at Eden Park it's a slightly different ground, because it's obviously a rugby ground, so its shape is a little bit a little short, straight, and nice and wide square. So that actually really suits our opening bowlers in someone like Elise Perry or Darcy Brown, who both like to sort of hit that back of a length and try and tempt people to go down the ground. So to me, that'll really help both of their bowling sort of styles. I know Mundana really loves Elise Perry. She tends to whack her around a fair bit, so it'll be a nice contest between the two of them, and I'm really looking forward to that. But it's more the case of Darcy Brown. She's this exciting young kid from South Australia at the moment that's coming through and just having an absolute ball over there. So I'm really keen to see the amount of swing that she gets, because you do get a lot of swing at Eden Park for some reason. No idea why. But the swing bowlers do really like that, and obviously Megan Shute bringing them in. So between the three of those opening bowlers in our power plays, Australia have been pretty good in the opening power play with their bowling.
All right, and if we just sort of, we're speaking of battles here between the bat and ball. Sonia, just to sort of bring you in here, we're talking about India batting first. Mithali at the toss did say she'd love to bowl as well. Just a word on that batting lineup. Let's look at the opening first. We're going to probably see Shafali open with Smriti, you'd reckon? How do you see that opening? How would their view or their thoughts be with that opening combination, and what would they look to do in that power play?
Yeah, I think Shefali would be opening with Smriti because I mean that's the reason why she is there, to take that advantage in the
Mm,
initial over. So definitely, I see Shefali opening with Smriti, and
mm.
she must have been told to just play her natural game. That's exactly what she loves to do, and that's the thing she should be doing. That's the reason why she's in that playing 11.
Uh, just your thoughts as well, Julia. As an opposition, we know what Shafali brings to the table. We know how India has sort of struggled with some of their consistency when it comes to their batting order, and sort of putting the pressure on. Australia's sort of going into this match with the sort of confidence that they can dent this Indian lineup. What does it do when they know they're going to face someone like Shafali at the top?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everyone knows that she loves to go down the ground. She likes playing forward of the wicket a fair
Yeah.
bit. So I think, I mean, they know how she plays, but she also can be unbelievably dangerous. And the fact that it's a short, straight boundary will be probably in the back of the Australians' minds at the same time. I like the fact that she's come back into opening. I know she's comfortable there. I know we've had Yastika Bhatia batting at number 3, and I think that's fine. We've just started to see, we haven't seen Mithali Raj really tick off quite yet, but we've got Goshen, Harmanpreet Kaur have both started to hit some form in that middle order. So I think it's important you don't mess too much with that middle order now. It's starting to click finally. And let's just, India just needs to work on that sort of opening stand. Obviously, Schmitty's been fantastic. It's just sort of that second opener, number 2 and number 3 and 4. We've just got to sort out. And when I say we, I mean India. Not Australia.
Australia has nothing to worry about for sure.
Yeah, so I think to me that they just need to work on that consistency and backing your players in particular areas and giving them the confidence to be able to know that they've got that position for a little while now. I mean, we're over halfway through this tournament, so they pretty much need to be locking some positions in right now.
Obviously, Sonia, the intent of getting someone like Shafali in is very clear. You want to lengthen that batting lineup. It sort of was seeming a little short, especially with that brittle middle order. Your thoughts on Mithali Raj? Has been an extremely quiet one for her, this tournament so far. How is she sort of processing something like this? It's a big match for her.
Yeah, definitely. I think she is just one knock away from coming back into that form. So maybe looking forward for today's match. Maybe this is the match she might be getting that form back into her, into this World Cup. And she definitely, is a kind of a player. We all know that, for coming back into the form, she will not take much of her time because she is aware of this importance of this World Cup from her individual perspective as well. She knows that she needs to be scoring those runs, and it's time she will be scoring these runs. As I said, that she's just one knock away coming back into that run scoring form.
Julia, your thoughts really on someone like Mithali. You've been there in big situations. Mithali is a big match player. She's done this for way too long compared to so many people we've seen over the years. Would she be? How? What is she at right now in terms of her mental psyche when it comes to not hitting the form that she knows she should? And as a player of that caliber, what do you think she would be sort of telling herself at this point?
Yeah, well, like you said, she has been around for a long time. She's a pretty cool head on her shoulders. She, you see her sitting on the sidelines reading books, and she knows her own game. I'm no doubt she's disappointed in how she's been getting out. A lot of them are being caught, so she's obviously playing the ball a little bit too early or not playing it under her eyes. So to me, it's just going back to those basics and just waiting for the ball, taking her time. Her strike rates have never been enormous. They're always around that 60-odd, 65 mark. So to me, she just needs to do that. And now the fact that maybe a few of the other batters are taking the pressure off her by actually scoring the runs, it was putting a fair bit on her, knowing that, beneath her, there were a lot of girls who were out of form and not being able to go on with it. But I think now that, like I mentioned, with Goshen and Harmanpreet Kaur now starting to hit some form, and even a few of the Straka and a few of the other girls have started getting some runs as well. I think that means that she can just continue on doing what she does, and that's staying out there. She's actually never scored 100 against Australia, and I think that should be her objective today, is to stay out there, because the longer she stays out there, the more runs she's going to get. It's not brain surgery. So to me, that's what she needs to be doing. Mundanar's been great. She's been whacking them. She has a high strike rate. Let her do her thing. Verma now to support that. I think Yastika Bhatia is great. Bhatia is good as well with the left-hander, just to break things up. So to me, she just needs to play her role, play the ball late under her eyes, and just play a calm head, and she'll tick it over and get to the 100 mark, no worries, and tick off another milestone for her.
So, Julia, of course, mentions this whole, the momentum. There is that sort of players who are hitting that patch there. It is sort of somewhere there, but yet to sort of come together a bit. How much would the fact that they have had a good run against Australia, especially in the recent, few games that they played, they almost won that ODI series down under. Does something of that sort of play in their minds at this stage, or is it in terms of getting inspired to come out and do that much better in this encounter against Australia? So, unable to hear you, Sonia. I think if you can just,
Yeah, sorry. Actually, they've been just saying that the series against England and series against Australia have been one of the best preparation coming into the World Cup. And yeah, definitely they will have that confidence, winning against Australia in the past as well. It's not that they have not won against them, and they've been pretty good performances, not only from the top players, but overall as a team, they've been performing well as well. And in today's match, definitely, as rightly said by Julia, that Mithali should be doing what she does regularly. That spending time on the wicket and let others play around her. So that's the thing they should be aiming at today's game.
Julie, just a word on the Australia bowling attack and how they're going to pace themselves here. Your thoughts as well on probably the pressure points there for India when it comes to facing the Australian bowlers at this stage, and how they would sort of plan, especially the middle overs.
Well, initially, I mean, it's a new pitch. No one's played a ODI on this ground. It's a drop-in wicket for one. It's a new wicket. No women's ODIs played on this since 2000. I think I was nearly the last person that played on this, which shows how old it is.
Wow.
And I do know that it does have a bit of a irregular bounce. So I think the pace of the Australian bowlers in that bounce is what's going to be difficult initially for the Indian openers. And I think they've just got to be able to have a little bit of patience. And that's where I'm a little bit worried for Shefali, because I know that she loves to try and get on with it. But at the same time, she's got Schmitty there with her, and I'm sure she's going to be talking her through it and getting her through there, because Schmitty's a natural leader in that group. So I think she's great. The other issue is the top 7 batters for India. They have an average of 22 versus left arm orthodox. So it wouldn't surprise me if Jess Jonathan, who's the number 2 bowler in the world in ODI cricket, comes on pretty early just to start challenging the front pad of a lot of the right-handed batters, particularly in that top 7 for India. An amazing stat. I would have thought for sure it would be a pace bowler that would be more likely to be concerning the Indian players, but it's actually one of our spinners. So to me, again, I think that what I noticed a little bit with the Indians and some of the other teams as well is just their lack of intent for the rotation of strike and looking for those ones. And I think that's where they're missing 30 or 40 runs a game, which can be crucial, which we've seen in a few of the close games that we've had already this tournament. So to me, it's about absolutely hitting those bad balls and obviously your bread and butter shots. But at the same time, how are you rotating the strike? How are you frustrating the bowlers by making sure that you're knocking around those ones all the time? Because that is very, very frustrating. And not just getting your 3s and 4s and over, that starts getting your 5s and 6s as well. So I think that's really, really important for India to make sure that they're putting the pressure back on the Australian bowling attack by picking off those singles where they can.
Sonia, of course, Jess Johnson is whom Julia speaks of, but we know that that's not the only one India needs to be wary of. There are quite a few people there. Everyone was sort of questioning someone like an Elisa Perry, but what a fantastic performance she put in the previous game. How dangerous is someone like Elisa Perry in these conditions particularly?
Oh, she's been bowling really well this World Cup. You know, she's buff, she's bowling fast, she's bowling on the target, and definitely she's swinging the ball as well. You know, more swing and pace both she has. So yeah, on a wicket like this, definitely the Indian batters will have to, as I said, not be too overcautious, but yeah, definitely they'll have to play a bit. Cautious game initially, as it I read that it has rained in the early morning today, so they will
Yes.
have to be a bit cautious, definitely playing all the pacers.
Yes, the weather is definitely something that's also going to be an added challenge for the women out there when they're going out to bat. It is a little uncertainty, and which is probably why Mithali would have liked to have the ball in hand right at the start of the game to just get that little bit of confidence. But yes, there's nothing. This is also another challenge that I'm sure that they'll be looking forward to and sort of try and get steady with when they get into bat. But we, of course, know that the women are out there in the middle. The anthems have started. The women are going to come in, and the match is going to begin in a few minutes. So just to sort of get things wrapped up here. A big moment as well. We sort of can mention that going into the match. Julian Goswami is playing her 200th one day international. What a massive accomplishment that is, Julia.
Yeah, unbelievable, and one that's a little annoying for Australia because it might just be that little bit of extra drive that India need and the motivation to get them performing today for someone like Julian Goswami. I mean, she's been an absolute legend for the country. She's still performing. I mean, I was looking at her figures today, and she's still, her economy rate's great. She's picking up at least a wicket every game, and just putting that pressure on from her end, and just fantastic to see. The other thing, though, is it's also Beth Mooney's 50th, so maybe that'll help Australia. So we'll see how we'll play them off. Maybe 200 does trump a 50, but either way, it's a magnificent thing, and Julian Goswami is loved around the world just because she's such a competitor, but she's also such a good, caring person as well. It's great to have someone like that in the game for so long and being such a role model for everyone. So, yeah, I wish her luck today, but not too much luck, obviously.
Right, of course. We understand that, Julia. But yes, they're exciting contenders from both these teams. I think what a match. I think that's the reason why we're sort of really excited to sort of witness this one early in the morning here. If you're sort of joining in from India, but just to wrap this up, last thoughts here, ladies, before we sort of get into live action and sort of watch how that first innings plays out. Sonia, what is the total that India will be looking at? I know this is something that we've sort of been struggling with over the last few matches for them. What is it they'll be happy with, especially against
Definitely.
this?
When you are playing against Australia, you definitely have to target beyond 270, I will say. But 250 plus should be a good total as well on this pitch where you both the teams are playing for the first time. I'm sure they will also know that 250 plus should be the first thing they should be targeting. After that, 270 should be an additional bonus for them.
Julie, I'm going to ask you, what is that total Australia was most likely to restrict India to?
Well, it's a good question because, again, we haven't seen this pitch. We don't know what it's sort of like. But I would think it's going to be a reasonably high-scoring game today, purely based on the fact that it's got some really quick pockets. The ground's been flying in all the places. They've really done some good work on the field. So I would say that 270 is exactly what India should be going for. I think Australia will be hoping more like a 240, I would think. If they get India out for that 240, I think they'll be very happy. But to me, you're right. I think they need to be looking at a 270 because Australia's batting depth is quite deep. So, they can afford to keep throwing the bat a fair bit for longer periods of time and taking a few risks here and there just to get those bigger scores. So, yeah, I'd say anywhere between that 240 to 270 is the two parameters there.
Awesome. And we just hope to see some very, very interesting and exciting battles there out in the middle as well between these two teams. They are mammoth competitors, and we want to see exactly that. India versus Australia. Australia winning the toss and choosing to bowl first. Live action will be out there at Auckland. So why don't you join that and then come back after the first innings to join us at the outside view here, presented by Women's Cricket Zone. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.